It's a general elective that you do not care about. But at the end of the day, you still need to get a good grade in this class, whether it's for your scholarship or for your pride or maybe to satisfy your parents' demands. So today I'm talking about how you can get the most out of your college lectures. And the advantage of doing this is that it takes a lot less time outside of class on your homework, and it makes your whole college experience much more efficient so that you can enjoy those late night parties. Tip number 1 is to put your phone away. Turn off your notifications, put it on the table, or even better, put it in your backpack. And what this does is it gives your brain a chance to just focus on what it's hearing. It's going to be really easy to try and distract yourself with your laptop or an iPad, but you really need to spend that time focused on what the professor is actually saying. It's a lot easier to listen to them now for 50 minutes than it is to listen to them for the next 3 days by reviewing your notes and trying to figure out what they were trying to say. So spend the time while you're there, and then you can move on after. I also recommend sitting at the front of your class. If you're at the front, you can make eye contact with the professor, you can ask questions, and your questions and input is going to have a much better response from the professor than it would if you were in the back of the classroom. Psychologically, you also feel much more involved when you're close to a speaker. When you're far away, you feel like you can kind of fall asleep, slack off, move on. Whereas up front, you put the psychological pressure on yourself to stay awake, stay engaged, and get a lot more out of those lectures. My next tip, if they write something down, you should write it down. A lot of times professors will just meander through their topic and give you some information that you should remember and give you some information that's just kind of filler, just more context. But anything that they write down, you should write down as well. Now, it may not all be relevant for future tests and quizzes, but it is nice for when you are studying. Because if you have all the content with you available, then you can actually go through it and find what's important later, rather than only having 1 or 2 lines written down for the lecture, and then you don't know what else they talked about. The more stuff they write down and you're able to record, the better, because it makes it a lot easier to sort through later. My next tip is to review all of those beautiful notes you just took after class for 3 minutes. Take a look at what you've written down and just try and write out a 1 or 2 sentence summary of what happened today. If you can't write it down, you don't understand it well enough. And in that case, you need to write down what questions you have. And then you can either ask the professor right there, or if you have to go on to another class, you can send them an email later. Asking questions and understanding what you did not understand from a lecture is probably the most vital part about learning, because chances are you're going to get tested on the stuff that you do not understand. So after class, write down a quick summary and then write down all the questions that you have. Professors actually really like seeing students that care about the topic and are willing to ask further, more in-depth questions for better comprehension. Just make sure to send those emails and those questions in a way that proves your effort on the topic. For example, for maybe my algorithms class, I could say, Professor blank, we discussed this algorithm and I tried to use it in this particular use case and I ran into this particular problem. I tried using it this way or tried adding this error handling, but I wasn't able to find a solution. Do you have any suggestions on what I could do here to better implement that algorithm? That email sounds a whole lot better than saying, I tried it and it didn't work. Help me. Or this assignment is hard. Those kinds of questions or statements make you look really bad as a student and show very little effort put in on your part. It's your job to learn, and the teacher's job is to help you learn. So the more effort you can put in and the more direction to put on these questions, the better off you'll be. A lot of places might recommend that you read all of the notes and read the book chapter before you go to lecture, but I think it's the other way around. You end up wasting a lot of time if you read the entire chapter before a lecture, because oftentimes professors don't really know what's in the book anyway, and they have their own content that they would like to share with you. Go to lecture, and if they reference anything in the book, then read those sections of the book, but not the other way around. Wrap up for today so that you can get the most out of lecture in the least time possible is to 1, put your phone away and focus on what they're saying. 2, sit at the front of class. 3, review for 3 minutes right after class and try to write a summary. If you can't write the summary, write down your questions and then send those in an email after doing a little more research. And then 4, don't read the book before class. Read it after class if anything didn't make sense or the teacher particularly referenced something from the book. Thanks for watching that video today. I'm going to put some more student tips right here, and I'll put a playlist down here. Leave me a like on your way out and stay effective.